Physical notebooks and digital apps each have features and benefits that the other doesn't have. When choosing one, you miss out on the benefits the other provides. But what if you didn't have to choose? I've been using a notebook as a planner off and on for about 8 years, and I've spent that time developing a system that allows me to utilize the best parts of a physical notebook and a digital productivity app. I've attempted to keep my system as simple as possible so that anybody can take it and modify it to their needs. But before we dive into the system, what are the benefits of each of these tools that we want to make sure we're not missing out on? Notebooks allow you instant access to your notes and your tasks. There's absolutely no load time. There's no need to charge a battery. It's distraction-free because it's not connected to the internet. And because of that, it's also safe and secure. The only way people are getting into your stuff is by breaking into your house, and then you've got another problem. Another thing I love about journals is that there's that tactile satisfaction. It's just so satisfying to write in a physical notebook. On the other hand, digital apps allow you to have practically infinite amount of storage, and you can also have your data backed up to a cloud. If ever you were to lose your device, you wouldn't lose all of your data. You can search that data and it's fast. You can retrieve information at the click of a button. Your notes in a digital app are also much more easy to edit than you do in a physical notebook. Things aren't as permanent as they are when you write them in ink. That brings me to an important thing to consider when having a system that utilizes a physical notebook and a digital app. What things are you going to store in your notebook versus your app? Because of the more permanent nature of a notebook, things that don't change often are things that I include in my notebook. Things like journal entries, events that have already taken place. I used to have tasks primarily digital, but due to the ease of just dumping anything into my task manager, a lot of things would get lost. It was also distracting going to my phone or tablet to see my daily tasks. It was so easy to get sidetracked. Because of this, I am experimenting with having my tasks inside my notebook. I actually want to create friction when it comes to moving tasks from day to day. With a digital app, you can just easily move it to tomorrow. It feels a lot more permanent when you write a task in a notebook. There's a lot more motivation to get the thing done, so you don't have to rewrite it tomorrow. The things that I keep inside of a digital app are things that change a lot, things like calendar events. Also with calendar, it's hard to keep your calendar in sync with people you may be working with when your calendar is entirely in a notebook. Notes that I take in my physical journal, I will often move into my knowledge repository so that they can become searchable along with any other notes and resources that I have in there. I also like to keep my projects in a digital app because with projects you're often utilizing resources that are external to your knowledge repository. So being able to have links to web pages, videos, and other resources to be able to complete those projects, that's really useful to have inside of a digital app. I can just very quickly click on something and be to that resource right away. This system can be done in any notebook or in any Notes or Task Manager app. You just have to make sure that the Notes app can make checkboxes. I use Archer and Olive B5 journals, which is a larger size journal, and the Notes app Obsidian. I start off by writing the date at the top of the page. Then I go about creating a daily plan bar. Now this comes from the author of the Sketchnote Handbook, Mike Rohde. Link to his original article in the description below. By the way, it's really hard to draw a straight line when you're trying to do it underneath a camera. Because I'm using a larger journal size, I can usually fit 2 days on a page. I just have the daily plan bar on the right as well as the left. I start by putting in all of the calendar events that I have scheduled for that day. Once I have all my events in place, I can see where I have gaps in the day and I can schedule my focus work times. I then write down all the tasks that I need to get done that day. These primarily come from my monthly logs, which I'll go into more detail about in a future video. As mentioned before, I have all of my projects inside of Obsidian so that I can link to notes and other resources. I also write down any tasks that I need to do for these projects. This is another source of tasks that I can include in my daily log. I use a community plugin called Tasks. This allows me to be able to schedule tasks, and then I can see all the tasks that I have scheduled for a particular day. I have a utility file called Today that shows me all the things that are due today, and then I can just migrate those over to my notebook. Then throughout the day, as ideas or different notes that I want to capture come up, I write those in, as well as any events that occur. These bullets come from the bullet journal system by Ryder Carroll. He uses this open circle for events, things that are scheduled for the day. I don't really use it for that. That's what the daily plan bar is for me. I usually use this bullet for journal entries, things that happen that I want to remember about the day. I'm a big fan of visual note-taking, which is another reason why I like such a large journal. It gives me the space to be able to sketch out ideas and notes. Because this is a book that I am capturing notes from, I give it a tag, a hashtag of book_notes. This allows me to know, okay, this is going to go into the book notes for multipliers inside of Obsidian. I use the dash as I would any other note, but then I put a bullet in front of that dash. That's to keep track of when I have migrated that note into Obsidian. When I'm ready to migrate these notes to Obsidian, I take a picture, and then I import them into Obsidian and put them with the other notes from that book. I keep track of all of the different ideas that I have for my YouTube channel inside of Obsidian. So anytime I come up with an idea for a new video, I give it a hashtag YouTube and then write out what the idea is. Once again, the bullet in this case is to help me track when I've migrated it to Obsidian. Continuing on with the bullet journal symbols, when I've completed a task, I just take that bullet and I mark it with an X. Tasks that are being migrated to a future day or to a different location, I mark with a right-facing caret. Tasks that I'm scheduling to occur in a future month, I will mark with a left-facing caret. Tasks that occur to me throughout the day that are not meant to be done on that day, I mark with a tag of inbox. These will get moved to different locations during my review process. They'll either go to my future log, my monthly log, or the appropriate project inside of Obsidian. I'm also working on a gamified task manager app. And so when I have ideas that are specific to that project, I give it a hashtag of game. The reason I have a special hash for this specifically is because these things don't go to Obsidian. They actually go to a project management software that I use called Codex. I'm keeping it in Codex because there's a lot of automations and features that it gives me that helps me run my software development cycle. It also leaves me open to the possibility of having other developers work on it with me in the future. Each week I do a weekly review where I'll go through all the pages of the previous week and make sure that everything has been migrated or completed. Another thing that I've borrowed from the bullet journal system is putting a little dot at the bottom of the page. Once I've checked everything off and there are no more open bullets, I then go down and I mark the bottom of the page with an X. Now I know that everything on that page has either been completed or migrated. As is true of any productivity system, you don't have to use this exactly as I've laid it out. Go ahead and give it a try, see what works, and then tailor it to your work and the things that you need to keep track of. The most important thing to decide is what information goes to which tool, and how you'll review those tools to make sure everything goes where it's supposed to live. If a notebook isn't an important part of your productivity system, you can see how I've built a purely digital productivity system inside of my favorite app, Obsidian. And remember, there is a perfect productivity system out there for you. You just have to build it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.